The Samsung Galaxy S25 series is only 2 months away, and Samsung is actually changing quite a few things. So, in this video, I'm going to go over 3 changes that we'll see on all models: the S25, the S25 Plus, and the S25 Ultra. The first of which is the new design, and we are actually getting some pretty significant changes on one of the models here. But first, regular S25. Based on the leaked renders by Android headlines and OnLeaks, we know that the S25 will be a bit more compact than the S24 was. The difference isn't that massive, as the S25 is only 0.1mm shorter and 0.2mm narrower. But the difference is more noticeable when you take a look at the thickness, which is now 7.2mm as opposed to 7.6 on the S24. Aside from this, you may notice these black rings around the camera modules. That's also something new for the S25 series. We first saw this with the Fold 6, which got these black camera rings as opposed to the color match rings on the S24 series. Personally, I do prefer the black camera rings, as it does make the modules look bigger, and hence it kind of makes it seem like you've got these super beefy cameras on your phone. So that's my pick. Other than this, there isn't much changing design-wise on the regular S25, aside from maybe a couple of new colors, which are expected to be Moon Knight Blue, Silver Shadow, Sparking Blue, and Sparking Green. We've rendered our concept in this Sparking Green color, which I think looks really nice. We did give it color-matched rings for the camera modules, by the way, just to see how these would look like, so do let me know if you prefer black camera rings or color-matched camera rings instead. Moving on to the S25 Plus, this will once again be a bigger version of the regular S25, with the same black camera rings and also the same colors. And just like the regular S25, the S25 Plus is a bit more compact than the S24 Plus was, as it is now 0.1mm shorter, 0.2mm narrower, and also thinner by also 0.4mm like the S25, from 7.7 and now to 7.3. But okay, the S25 Ultra is actually that phone that is getting the bigger design changes. We are finally getting the same flat frame design treatment as the other 2 models. As we can see in these leaked CAD-based renders from Android headlines and OnLeaks, the S25 Ultra now has a fully flat frame. There is actually a recently leaked video of the S25 Ultra that shows just how flat it is, which, yeah, I'm definitely a very big fan of. With the S24 Ultra before, we had this fairly rounded frame design, which I was never a really big fan of, as it added extra width to the frame, and it definitely made it less comfortable to hold. Now, however, it will be considerably narrower by 1.4mm, which I'm pretty sure will make a big difference in terms of usability. It is, however, a bit taller by 0.5mm. However, just like the other 2 S25 models, the S25 Ultra will also be much thinner, at 8.2mm from 8.6. The S25 Ultra is also expected to come with those black camera module rings like the Fold 6 and the other 2 S25 models. However, unlike the S25 and S25 Plus camera modules that will apparently have this super interesting Mario pipe style design, the S25 Ultra's camera modules will be flat, which will likely make them better at avoiding dust and lint getting trapped in there. Also worth mentioning is that apparently the camera bump itself will only be 2.4mm as opposed to almost double on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. So the table wobble should be less than the iPhones. Now, compared to the S24 Ultra though, the camera bump seems to be getting a bit bigger, as that one was just about 2mm at least from our measurements. Another design change on the Ultra is when it comes to the corners. They do not longer appear to be squared off like they've been on the S22 Ultra, S23 Ultra, and S24 Ultra. Instead, they now seem to be more similar to how they used to be on the S20 Ultra and S21 Ultra. I did find those phones to be much more comfortable to hold in the hand, so I think that this combination of a narrower body with those rounded corners too should significantly improve the comfort, while the flatter frame will now provide more grip. As for the colors on the S25 Ultra, these are expected to be different to the S25 and S25 Plus colors, and be a bit more quote-unquote professional, so to say. We've got black, gray, silver, and really the only actual color that we have is titanium blue, which I also expect to be quite a dark looking color. And these are all the main design changes that we expect to see here. And before we continue, here's something that I think a lot of you will find very helpful, and that is Incognate, our sponsor. Your data is invaluable, but as data breaches become more prevalent, your data is being monetized by data brokers like HackerRank for profit. Incogni removes your personal information from these archives by reaching out to brokers to stop spam, identity theft, robocalls, and more. You also have the option to include multiple emails and see where they have been compromised too. Doing this yourself is very time-consuming, and you also need to be vigilant after every breach. Incogni saves you the hassle by automatically sending repeated removal requests, so you never need to worry about data breaches again. Keep your data safe and sign up for Incogni using incogni.com/ZONEofTECH to get an exclusive 60% discount on their annual Incogni plan. Okay, now the second change that the S25 series is getting is when it comes to their display. The actual sizes are expected to remain the same, so 6.2 inches on the regular S25, 6.7 on the S25 Plus, and 6.8 on the S25 Ultra. However, the bezels are getting thinner on all models. We can see that quite well from this image that Ice Universe posted, where the flatter and narrower frame is also visible. This is how Samsung is able to reduce the width of all models whilst keeping the display size the same, and that's by making the bezels thinner. Now, as for the display brightness itself, we know that Samsung has been working on their next generation OLED displays, which are not just brighter, but apparently you will now be able to scan your fingerprint anywhere on the display, as well as scan multiple fingers at the same time for even greater security. This is truly revolutionary. In fact, this new OLED display is even called OLED 2.0. And whilst this new generation of Samsung's OLED displays is expected to be released by 2025, Samsung will still apparently use the previous gen OLED displays for the S25 lineup, mostly as a cost-cutting measure, which is honestly so disappointing to see. Like, Samsung used to put their best components into their flagship products, but now it seems like they are just selling those to other manufacturers first, and only then do they bring them to their actual products in the following years, likely to increase their profit margins. One thing that I would love to see display-wise, aside from brighter panels, which is something that's always welcome to be honest, is that anti-reflective coating that we got with the S24 Ultra last year on the standard and plus models as well. We haven't really had any leaks on these coming to the standard models, so I don't think it is coming. In the very best case, we may just see it on the S25 Plus, although, yeah, I do think the chance of this is quite low. Okay, and then the third change that we're getting is when it comes to their performance. However, this is where things get a bit tricky. So let me just start with the S25 Ultra because that's where things are a bit simpler. The S25 Ultra will feature the brand new Snapdragon 8 Elite chip. Last month, I went to the Snapdragon Summit in Hawaii, and I got a chance to learn everything about this chip, also see it in person, and also see what it is truly capable of. And honestly, it is very, very impressive. For example, in Geekbench 6, the 8 Elite scored almost 1,000 points higher than the 8 Gen 3 inside the S24 Ultra, for a massive 40% performance boost. In fact, it was even very close to the similar performance of Apple's A18 Pro chip. As for a multi-core, it scored 42% higher than the 8 Gen 3 and also 23% higher than Apple's A18 Pro, which means that the S25 Ultra will likely be the most powerful flagship phone on the market when it launches in early 2025. As, of course, it will also have the Made for Galaxy edition of the 8 Elite, which is going to perform even better. Now, when it comes to the S25 and S25 Plus, like I said, things are a bit weird, as we literally have 3 chip options here. So option 1 is the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip, so matching the performance of the S25 Ultra, especially since we're also getting 12 gigabytes of RAM up from the previous 8. Option 2 is Samsung's own Exynos 2500, also with 12 gigabytes of RAM. There have been some leaked benchmarks showing a similar performance to last year's Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, just with a 12% faster multi-core score. And option 3 is the MediaTek Dimensity 9400 chip. We already had some leaks that Samsung might be using this in the S25 FE, and they are already using it in the Galaxy S10 Plus and the Galaxy S10 Ultra tablets. Well, at least when it comes to the previous Dimensity 9300 Plus variants. Also, performance-wise, the Dimensity 9400 is actually really good. It's faster than the Exynos 2500 single-core-wise by about 50%, and multi-core-wise, it also outperforms it by about 6%. So, which chip is it going to be? Well, I think that we may actually see 2 of these rather than just 1. So I think that just like last year, we'll see 1 option in the US, possibly even the Snapdragon 8 Elite, and then 1 in Europe, which could be either the Exynos 2500 or the MediaTek Dimensity 9400. My guess is that it will be the Exynos. And here's the thing, even if we do get the Exynos 2500 in Europe, which yes, it is the slowest performing chip out of these 3 options, One UI 7 does improve the overall app opening speed and system performance quite dramatically, as we can see from this video here. And by the way, on a bit of a separate note, we've just dropped this beautiful 8K wallpapers pack called Wonderful Waterfalls by Mathy. It comes in 10 beautiful waterfall designs that look incredible on our studio display here, especially since they're all in 8K. But of course, you can apply them on your smartphone as well as on your tablet and give your lock screen a fresh new coat of paint. Simply download our app Wallpapers, which you can get for free on iOS and Android by searching or by using the links below. All in all, the S25 series is getting some pretty significant upgrades in the performance department, with more RAM and significantly improved raw performance, especially on the Ultra model. Of course, the flatter design and narrower frame should make the Ultra even more comfortable to use. And I haven't even touched upon the camera changes, which yes, there are quite a few, as well as some more features, battery details, pricing, and more. So make sure that you're subscribed, as we'll have another video covering those details pretty soon. And if you want to continue this conversation, we've recently updated our Discord channel with more chat rooms, competitions, and so much more, which you can join by using the link down below in the description for free. But yeah, I'm Daniel, this is ZONEofTECH, and I'll see you guys in the next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.